The Pope's choir is returning to America. That's the sound of the Sistine Chapel Choir. It dates back to the 15th century. Last year, I reported on the group's first tour in the United States when they performed in Washington, D.C. This year, they're preparing to go coast to coast. Joining us now is Mark Spyropoulos. He is the first Englishman since the Reformation to be hired as a full-time singer with the Sistine Chapel Choir. He joins us from New York, where he is promoting the upcoming tour. Mark, welcome back to the program. What can we expect in this year's tour? What will be the same? What will be different?
It's a full coast-to-coast tour, taking in 8 cities, and it's a concert tour. And we are bringing to you some of the finest music from the Vatican and from the archives that go back to the 16th century. Really some of the most extraordinary music right across America.
And you'll be performing in cities like Atlanta, St. Louis, Los Angeles. How do you prepare to perform in theaters and churches where the acoustics are so different than, for example, inside the Sistine Chapel?
Well, we're very used to performing in a variety of different acoustic settings. So the music, of course, is centered around the Sistine Chapel, and that's what it was written for. But we have to, of course, bring something of the feeling of the Sistine Chapel. And it's very different when we perform in the Basilica, for example, in St. Peter's, or if we're out in the Piazza. And then when we tour, of course, we then have to make allowances and justify the sound in other different theaters. We would rehearse during the day, of course, and set the balances slightly. In some of the bigger venues, we use a kind of amplification, but we always try to recreate as far as we can the natural and very beautiful acoustic of the Sistine Chapel itself.
What's it like to be on the road for so long? What's your schedule like, and how hectic is it?
I haven't seen the schedule yet, but it's going to be pretty heavy, isn't it? It's almost all of July, and it's 8 cities. So we, of course, have to keep ourselves fresh. We have to keep the voices in check. We have to make sure we're well rested. And so we have to be very, very careful each time that we kind of pace ourselves as we go along. Otherwise, we're going to sound awful by the end. So we have to be very careful about how we look after ourselves.
You say that the choir is called to connect people of different faiths. So what do you hope people will take away from the choir's performances when they hear it?
I think our job is to bring to America the spiritual intensity of the Sistine Chapel, the transcendent beauty which is at the heart of the Vatican. We bring the music which reflects those famous and beautiful frescoes of Michelangelo. We are bringing that tradition in music to America. And I think that should be something that should inspire people to look beyond the everyday and the mundane to something beautiful and transcendent. That's, I think, our job, and nothing less than that.
Well, I'm sure there'll be a lot of American Catholics who are praying for you guys as you guys tour America and bring that music to the lives of so many. Mark Spyropoulos of the Sistine Chapel Choir, thanks so much for talking with us.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.